Interesting comments, by the way. This is absolutely fascinating. I've been a registered professional land surveyor for, I don't know, 30 years or so. I've been a GISP for about 6 months. There's a lot involved in being a registered professional in any organization, and I think we should keep in mind the differences between them. I'm a registered professional land surveyor. I got there by standing on the side of the road doing surveys. That's not what I do now as a professional. I oversee their activities. The guys on the side of the road are measurement technicians. They're making technicians for everybody. I think one of the issues that we need to get a grip on, and I'm tying several points here together, so bear with me for just a moment. The fear that you were talking about earlier is why surveyors aren't more further involved. We tend to be focusing on what we're doing, conservative in our thinking. It's not so much fear, it's public perception and a lack of standing up and making noise for what we are. So my question to you gentlemen sitting up there at on the panel is, what are the national organizations that oversee the activities of these various professions? What are they doing to integrate this and to get it out there in front of the public so that the public understands? Most people don't understand the role of surveyors in society and the contribution that we make to the infrastructure that we all enjoy.
I guess I'll tackle that one first. One of the primary things that the national organizations are trying to do is herd the cats. Because it seems as though our profession is one of the ones that hasn't figured out yet that if you're going to have an impact on public perception, you're going to have to do it in a collective way. You're not going to be able to do it in a piecemeal fashion. Bill Coleman's a great surveyor. Bill Coleman's on the Chamber of Commerce. Bill Coleman is a great guy in his town, and everybody knows that. But people 50 miles away probably don't know that. They may. I'm just using that as an analogy. But the point is, until the surveying profession figures out that we all have to work collectively to get the message out and formalize the message, then we're not going to be in the same position as engineers and architects and lots of other different professionals who have already figured that out. So it doesn't mean that there isn't a message to be spread, but it has to be a consistent message, I think, for it to actually be effective.
So that's why you're becoming chair of COGO?
No, I'm becoming chair of COGO because nobody else volunteered.
Who's next? Okay, back there.
I'm just an LSIT. I am not set in my ways. I am not 50.
You're lucky.
I came here because I see the value of GIS. I'm one of those people that wants the newest stuff so I can keep expanding, because as soon as you miss that, upgrade, you can't catch up. But I need to know how I can convince my company, who's not doing well, who's fighting for survival, that this is an immediate impact that will garnish an income. In other words, I can come to all these seminars, I can learn the programs. How can I show them immediately or quickly how this is going to impact the bottom line and get us going? And I think probably a lot of people here are wanting to know how we can get into GIS quickly and start making the money needed to do this.
Peter?
My recommendation is to go find somebody who just graduated from a 4-year surveying degree who is an IT guru, and go out and borrow the money if you don't have it and put him on staff immediately and let him transform your company, or her transform your company. You will see cost savings in your company starting within a couple, if not 2 weeks, 3 weeks or a month or whatever, and you will see products go out your door like you've never imagined that your clients are just going to be dazzled by. It's just, I think that's the best thing that you can do right now.
I assume when you hire this person, you better have an open mind.
Yeah, and you got to let them go.
Just wanted to be sure.
I'll offer an intermediate step. and that is something that was touched upon in one of the previous presentations, and that's examine your strengths. What do you do well today? What does your firm do well today, and how can you capitalize on that in the GIS world? And then if you can't afford to hire that four-year LS student with the IT background, go find somebody you can partner with who doesn't have your same strengths but has different strengths. It's something we do a lot of. We do a lot of partnering. I always felt I'd rather have 20% of the job than 0% of the job. So it's very important for us to take our strengths and sell them to folks who don't have those same strengths but have another set of strengths. And together we get bigger jobs, better jobs, more profitable jobs. And eventually we both go our separate ways because we develop the strengths we didn't have. And it works very well.
Next.
Let me see here. I wrote down a couple of notes here. I'm from the state of Connecticut. I grew up in a household of land surveyors, so I have many years experience doing that. 30 years experience in land surveying, over 20 years in GIS. Many communities are requesting electronic files to integrate the surveys into the GIS systems to help improve the GIS accuracy. Now, where I'm from in Connecticut, the CALS, Connecticut Association of Land Surveyors, the governing body of the LS in Connecticut, passed a directive within the last 4 weeks or so, essentially banning the dissemination of CAD and GIS files, saying that, and this is in there, that the points or lines could be changed in the file. And they mentioned specifically DXF, DWG, shape files, including but not limited to. This practice seems to be an undermining of the progress that surveyors and GIS have been making. I want to know what your thoughts are on that.
Looks like Peter again.
Yeah. I've got 10 people on my staff working more than 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. And so there's a huge volume of work that's going on in my office, and not one of my clients really wants anything in paper. They want CAD files. They want CAD files that have been properly prepared so that they can incorporate them into their CAD projects or their GIS projects. They want PDF files to go along to back those things up. Very little paper goes out of my office anymore because all of my clients want the digital files. So we go with the intent on every survey project that we have, whether it's lines, points, or whatever, that somebody's going to use it, and not just somebody, but somebody's going down the line, that our work is just going to keep going to other people. So the work has got to be right, and it's got to be reported accurately as to what it is as well.
Peter, if I understood correctly, it's either a statute law or a regulation that's preventing this from occurring. So what do we do then?
Break the law.
I don't, was it, I think it was, no, I think it was, you're talking about the state surveying organization. Right. Yeah, so it's not the state governing organization.
And that's Connecticut, you said? Well, we can have our GIS committee from NJSPLS and come up to one of your board of directors meetings, and we have a good time that night. You buying dinner?
I think that's a pretty good response to a situation that now calls for further steps. And because Peter's right, I don't know that any of us have any clients anymore that don't look for things electronically. A couple things that we do for what it's worth, and I heard one of the earlier presentations talk a little bit about sharing data and the trials and tribulations of it, is first of all, the ownership of that data still remains with me. Every bit of it. Every one of my contracts says that anything we produce, electronically or on paper, belongs to me as an instrument of service. It's not a product. It's an instrument of service. And because of that, I don't expose myself to product liability, which is a lot worse than professional liability, by the way. The second thing I do is, no matter if it's electronically to the client, I print a copy of it. I have an original. There is original in paper in the file. I've got 47 years worth of files, folks, and I have everything that ever got transmitted to a client was plotted or printed on paper. So if anybody ever comes to me in the future and says, we have a problem with this electronic file because these lines are in the wrong spot, I can compare it to something that is the original. It's the paper original. So that's the way we handle it in our business. I don't have any problem sharing electronically with anybody. I don't have a problem with a client asking for copies today, tomorrow, 10 years from now. I don't care. I have a problem with it. But the original is mine, remains in my possession, my ownership, and it stays in my file. They get copies any way they want.